Anthropic and OpenAI are tightening their token limits for subscriptions. Now, if you're paying 20 quid for Claude, you're getting less, and that's expected. More demand, higher prices. But does it mean you have to pay more if you don't want your flow to be interrupted? Well, not necessarily. But you definitely have to revisit how you use Claude Code and other AI assistants. And in this video I will show you a few tips and tricks on how to save your tokens, time and money. So let's get started. You probably heard this advice already, to keep conversations with AI short. But it doesn't mean that you have to talk to it like a caveman. Removing please from your prompts won't make much of a difference. This advice is useful if you don't understand how AI tools work. It's all about context architecture. And the problem is not just the limits. By default, tools like Claude Code are very generous with context. These tools happily read your entire repo and logs, even when it's not necessary, and then you'll pay for it. Every time you ask Claude to do something, it does not just read your prompt. It passes the entire conversation back to the model. All your prompts, all the model responses, but not only that. If you asked Claude to scan the entire repo, it will live in your context too. Or if Claude ran a command in a terminal and it spit out a bunch of logs, and Claude then read them to understand why your code doesn't compile, this will clog your context. And every time you ask something in this session, it will be passed back even if it's totally unrelated. So your goal is not the shorter messages, it's the thinner context. And here are a few things you can do to make it work for you. First of all, we all know that we need to set up an instruction file for our agent, so do it if you haven't yet. It doesn't take much time and you don't even have to write it manually. Just run Claude init command and Claude will do it for you. And all you need to do is just review it and fix anything that doesn't make sense. Then your agent always will know how to build your project, how to run the tests, and which framework you use, without needing to read your repo again and again. But keep it slim, don't copy the entire documentation in your Claude.md, because then it will be loaded every time when you start conversation in Claude. If you want to reference any specific part of your documentation, create a separate docs folder in your repo, place it there, and then you can reference it when you need using @ and then the name of your file. And another thing you should start doing is using plan mode. Plan mode exists in Claude Code for a reason, and ignoring it is a huge mistake. Without plan mode, what usually happens? You're just telling Claude to implement the feature, and it starts editing files, and then you notice that something is off. You stop Claude to do it differently, and then it assumes something else wrong, so you have to course correct again. You're not just wasting tokens, you're wasting your time and brain power. And plan mode helps to avoid it. Switch to plan mode with /plan command and type or paste your task. Then you can ask Claude to make an implementation plan. Plan mode is read-only, so you don't have to worry about files being changed on accident. Claude will ask clarifying questions if there is anything ambiguous in your task. And that's my favorite part. Now, even if you prompt something like implement a login flow, it won't make decisions for you. It will explicitly ask you if you need MFA or if it's just email and password, and whether you want a recovery link to be sent to the email or the code via the SMS. And it will come up with a specific plan for an agent, so you don't have to. And when plan is ready, you can easily edit it. You can just press Ctrl+G and Claude will open the plan in your IDE. You can make all the necessary changes without going back and forth with the Claude. And then finally, you can switch back to the implementation mode and tell Claude to work on the task and use the plan to verify the outcome. This way, chances to get exactly what you want on a first pass are higher, because now Claude does know what you actually want. And another rookie error is doing everything in a single session. Every time you say, now also fix this thing, in the same chat, the new task inherits all the context bloat from a previous one. And the tool output from your previous test run is still in this context window. So the workflow I use. Every time I finish a unit of work, I exit the session. New task, new session. Usually, when I want to start fresh, I use /clear command. This will start a new session in the same terminal window. But exiting is usually fine too. And in this case, you can also revisit your work later. And if you still need your context from previous work for a new task, use /compact. This command will drop useless information, failed attempts and tool logs, and will keep only what's required for the further work. It usually kicks in automatically when your context is 95% full, but at that point it's usually too late. Don't rely on this. Clear your context early and deliberately. You probably heard about sub-agents already. Some people flex about using fleets of them, but you don't really need a fleet. One or two is enough. Some tasks are context hungry. For example, if you want to review your teammates' PR, Claude will read all the changed files and even more, whatever it needs to understand the full picture. And if you do it in the main session, then information will stay there. So spin up a sub-agent instead. They run in their own context and they will return a clean summary in the main chat. You can define sub-agents in the subfolder in your project .claude/agents or in your root directory. And if you want to know more about sub-agents, I've got a video for you. It's called Cursor Sub-Agents, but it's almost the same as in Claude, so go check it out. And another thing I recommend you to do is to cap logs and tool outputs. Test runners and compilers emit a lot of garbage, and Claude does not need all of it. A failing test suite can spit out 20,000 lines, but you really need only 30 of them. So you have to introduce two habits. Cap bash output length so the logs can't blow your budget. Setting it to around 20,000 characters is usually enough and reasonable for most workflows. And second, filter logs before Claude sees them. Don't pipe the raw output into the chat. And another advice I can give you, be careful with agent skills. Don't get me wrong, skills are great. I use skills like superpowers a lot, especially when I start something new and need to make sure all the best practices are followed. But these skills are token hungry and they do a lot of stuff under the hood. They can eat your daily token limit in a couple of prompts, or just while debugging a single issue. And another problem. Every installed skill exposes a name and description that Claude needs to know to decide whether to invoke this skill or not. And those descriptions aren't free as well. They sit in your system context. According to the Versal statistics, around half of the skills people install are never invoked, and they just sit there doing nothing and eating the budget. So there are some good housekeeping rules to follow here. If you do not use skill, uninstall it. Audit it quarterly. Run /context and check what's there. Anything with the description that is bigger than value it provides, it's a candidate for removal. And when you install skills, prefer project scope. Project level skills cost you only while you're working in this project. And user level skills will cost you tokens in every session, everywhere. Don't put domain specific skills at the user level, just because it's easier. And try to write your own skills before installing someone else's. most of the public skills built for someone else's workflows. And 20-line skill that you wrote will be more useful for your project than 200 lines generic skill that tries to cover everything. And last but not least, use the effort front method. For skills that are used for routine tasks, set the effort to low, so they don't trigger expensive reasoning passes. Save effort high for genuinely hard work. And last but not least, pick the right model. Not every task needs the heaviest and the smartest model. Quick edits and simple Q&A, a lighter model handles them fine for a fraction of a cost. Sonnet is cheaper than Opus, and Haiku is even cheaper than Sonnet. So save the top tier models for actually heavy reasoning work, architectural decisions, complex debugging, or multi-repo refactor. Always default to the lighter and step up only when you actually need it. And that's it for today. I hope my recommendations will help you to save a little bit on tokens and on an environmental impact as well. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on AI. So stay tuned and see you in the next video.